and whatever they might be. And I think, okay, I figured it out. Never. Oh, wow, nighttime. Great guesses. I do hate technology sometimes. It just stresses me out. It stresses me out so much. So at the end of tonight's live stream, we are going to be doing a drawing for some pins because a while back I said that all the people who signed up on my website to my email list and commented on my videos would be entered into a drawing. So we're going to do that later tonight. But for now, we're going to get started with I love this word so very, very much. And it's like a really like in-depth word. There's a lot of things that we're going to talk about tonight that go with this word. So we're probably maybe only going to talk about like one word that starts with the letter N, but it is such a big word. It is a huge word, and it's something that I know that is very near and dear to my heart, but I don't know how many people that are on here tonight absolutely adore this word. Dogs. What are you going to do? I don't know how many people love this word as much as I do. So we are going to talk about a notebook. That's the word that we're going to talk about for tonight. Starting out is the word notebook. So I am a notebook lover. I, at one point in time, was carrying around 3 different notebooks. I had all different notebooks for all different things, and I love to jot down my notes in notebooks. I use them whenever just hear something on the radio. If I hear something on a podcast, to write things down in notebooks. I use notebooks for just about, well, everything. So yeah, I'm a little extreme with my notebook usage. But they're all different kinds of things that you can kind of use a notebook for. Oh, look at that. That's not very pretty. Tracking progress is one of them. So how many people write down their weight loss stats somewhere? Do you put them in a notebook? Do you put them in a spreadsheet? Put down in the comments down below. How do you track your progress? Do you do it in a notebook? Do you just put it in an app on your phone? Do you, how exactly are you tracking your progress? I'm kind of curious. I want to know what you don't want to share, how many you have. See, I knew it. I was like, I know Tia is going to be right there with me on this one. I know that she is going to be right there. No other tracking. You just put it on YouTube and then you remember. See, you can document, your starting weight. You can document your measurements, the goals that you set for yourself. There's all different, kinds of things that you can track as far as your progress. Clothing size. Print out your photos and put them in the notebook like the first photos you take, your monthly update photos, instead of just keeping them like on your phone or on your device. Actually put them in your progress notebook. It is so sometimes awesome to see that progress over time and how it looks. Sometimes, if you're if you hit a stall or a plateau, it can be, not as much fun. But that's really about working with your mindset versus the actual progress. And we're going to tackle that one on another episode of the ABCs of weight loss, because I know all about that. I know how to handle it. I'm a pro at that one, but that's a whole other thing that we can talk about on another day. But how else can we use our notebooks in order to help us with weight loss. That's just, that's what we're here to talk about tonight. And I've got all kinds of things. So let's talk about the next thing. So, a food diary. How many people that are here keep a food diary? And let me know in the comments if you're watching on the replay about a food diary. Do you write down what you eat in a food diary? So, writing down your food in a food diary is excellent because it helps you create awareness around what it is that you're eating, just plain and simple. If you keep a record of your meals and your snacks, you can kind of take a look at that and you can identify patterns and habits that you have. You get to understand what your calorie intake is, and then you can make adjustments to all of that based on the feedback that you're getting from your results, from how you're feeling. But it's really, one thing that we want to do whenever we're kind of keeping a food diary is we want to not just write down our food, but for a lot of people, I know for me, a big thing in the very beginning was tracking my hunger scale. So how hungry was I? Was I, not hungry at all? Was I kind of hungry? I could eat. Was I very hungry? If I don't get something to eat right now, I'm going to kill somebody hungry? And then after I finished eating, where was I on that hunger scale then? Was I satisfied but not full? Was I full? Was I over full? So this is all good information whenever you're eating a meal, how it makes you full, tracking that hunger scale, especially for someone who's not really tracking, calories per se, or tracking their portion sizes. Tracking by hunger scale can be a very beneficial component in our tracking things. So what are you eating? Why are you eating is another thing that we can be tracking in our food diary. You walk past somebody's desk at work and you grab a candy. Why did you grab that piece of candy? Just because I saw it and I wanted it. That's it. Break room and there's donuts and you grab a donut. Why did you eat it? Were you hungry? Yes, no, maybe so. Did you just want it because you saw it? If it was out of sight, it'd be out of mind, and it wouldn't be in your belly now. Past privacy invasion issues. So that's an interesting one. So tracking. Another thing to track in your food diary is not just, what you're eating, how much you're eating, but where are you eating? What else are you doing while you're eating? Who are you eating with? And how are you feeling whenever you're eating? So this is big. This goes back to really one of my no BS days. Where are you eating? An interesting thing that happened to me whenever I was, doing the no BS program, and I was really kind of doing this intuitive eating type process with it, was that where I was eating made an impact on how much I ate. So if I was to eat at the dinner table per se, I wouldn't be eating as much if I was sitting on the couch watching TV. So if I'm watching TV, I might be mindlessly scrolling on my phone. I might be watching TV and mindlessly scrolling on my phone and trying to eat my food. I am not paying attention to my hunger signals at all. I'm not even paying attention to the taste of the food, like the enjoyment that I can get out of eating the food, the nourishment that it's giving me. I'm not paying attention to any of that because I'm watching TV, I'm scrolling on my phone, and my food is secondary whenever at this moment in time I really should be present with my food and fully enjoying it. Have you ever finished a meal and been like, oh man, I don't even remember eating it? Like you didn't even get to enjoy a single moment of the food because you were distracted by doing other things. And we take our food for granted. So that's why I say, like, where are you eating and what else are you doing while you're eating? Because a lot of times if we're doing something else, we're not paying attention to that food. We're not paying attention to how we feel. So that's why I say, what else are you doing while you're eating? Who are you eating with? Who you're eating with can be an important component in the whole situation. Are you with your spouse? Are you with your kids? Are you with coworkers? Are you with friends? This can definitely, change things. If you're like out with coworkers and you're in a restaurant, other people might be taking extra long, causing you to pick and eat more than, you necessarily intended to eat. Some people can kind of trigger like anxious eating within you, different styles of emotional eating. So if we put this all in our food diary and we go back and we look for habits and we look for patterns, then we can solve for those. But if we're not aware that those patterns and those habits are happening, then we don't know that there's something that needs to be addressed. So that's why I think it's a really, really, really good idea to put all of this information in a food diary. I know it sounds like a lot, but it's really, really not that much of a thing. Once you get into the habit of keeping a food diary and writing down the things, you realize it only takes an extra minute after you eat every single time. It's not a big, complicated thing. Oh, I didn't mention your feelings. Are you happy? Are you sad? Are you lonely? How are you feeling whenever you're eating? Did that have any, sway into why you're eating at that particular moment in time? Lots of different things to think about whenever we're keeping our food diary, and not just the basics of, I had a cup of broccoli with a tablespoon of butter. It's not just portion sizes. It's definitely not just portion sizes. But yes, we want to make it a habit. Just make it a habit. And it's the more it becomes a habit, the less you really start to criticize and judge what you're eating. And that's a whole other thing for a whole other live stream. Criticizing. So portion control. Put that in your food diary. Portion control. And I don't really have to say much about all of that, but noting down the portion sizes, but not just the portion sizes necessarily, but another thing that I like to think about with the portion sizes is, how did that portion size make me feel? So I'm a non-restrictive person on my foods. I eat all foods. There is a difference between eating 2 Oreo cookies and eating 3 Oreo cookies to me. When I eat 2 Oreo cookies, it kind of makes me feel like sad, like something's missing. Like I didn't get the full experience of eating the Oreo cookies. That was just kind of like, eh. But 3 Oreo cookies to me is the right number of Oreo cookies to eat. So how does it make you feel? Same, all different things. We just want to kind of like examine our thoughts, examine our feelings about it. And, then we can be aware and make adjustments based on, kind of what we're thinking or feeling, whatever, about the particular subject itself. So everybody's not into a food diary and tracking all their foods and tracking all their calories, but maybe, just maybe, you could get into meal planning. Meal planning. Meal planning is such a huge component, in my opinion. I feel like I know that people have a lot of success themselves with winging it, but I don't. I cannot just wing it for the week. I need to have my meals planned. I don't need to know exactly, what I'm having on Monday, what I'm having on Tuesday. I'm not that strict of a person. Some people are, and that works great for them. I'm more of okay, these are the 7 meals that we're going to have this week. These are the lunches that we're going to have this week. And these are the snacks that we have this week type of a meal planner. But you've got to figure out what kind of works for you. But if I don't write out a meal plan, it's going to be later in the week and I'm not going to have the ingredients I need to bake something. And some days when I get home from work and I am just tired, stressed, wanting to relax, get home, go to the pantry, go to make something, and all my ingredients aren't there, guess who's going to win out? Takeout is going to win out. That's because I'm over it. So I meal plan to go grocery shopping so that I have everything. Grocery shopping does not count as meal planning if you don't have a plan before you go grocery shopping. If you just go and buy groceries, but you don't have a plan for those groceries, it's not technically meal planning, because I have done that. And then I wind up not getting everything that I should have got because I didn't have a solid plan and I winged it. But for some people, yeah, they can go grocery shopping. They don't have to meal plan at all because they know what they eat. They eat the same things. They're just pretty, just the same all the time. That's what they eat. So, really it's about figuring out what works for you. If it works for you and you're having success and everything is going good, don't change anything. If it's going good, unless you really want to. Sometimes making meals in advance, other times just having them planned. It depends if I'll have cooking time. And that's so true. In a notebook, not only can you write down, tracking your progress, your food diary, your portion control, your meal planning, your schedule for the week. What's life look like this week? Does it make sense to meal prep? So another reason why a notebook is a good thing to do. And that's in the notebook, getting back to the notebook. Oh my gosh, I'm having a ball. I'm just loving it because I love notebooks. There's just so much information you can put in them and they can be so helpful. So sometimes making meals in advance and other times just having them planned. It depends on if I'll have cooking tip. Like I said, write down your schedule for the week. It helps to identify that. Now, if in your notebook, you wrote down your meal plan, you wrote down your schedule, you had it all lined out. At the end of the week, you go back and you record your progress. Now that tells you, based on this week, I ate this, I did this, my exercise was this was my results. Now you've got something that's documented in your notebook that you can go back to and repeat. Sometimes you can go look at that information and say, okay, this week didn't work out so well. Why? Now, sometimes we have a week that just doesn't go our way, and that's just the way it is. Sometimes we get results that are fake results. They're not even, true results. The scale just does its own thing for whatever reason. But you might notice a pattern somewhere down the road. If you have a few different weeks where you get a result on the scale that you don't necessarily like or want to see, if you've got your meal plan, did you actually follow your plan? What exactly did you eat? And you go back and compare those. Again, we can look at that. We can be curious about it. We can investigate it. We can explore it. And we can say, okay, so these weeks that I didn't do well, even though they were weeks apart from one another, this is what they all had in common. So this is something that I need to look out for in the future so that it doesn't, hinder my progress. So it's just like a learning experiment. It's just finding, these small little things that kind of trigger us, or, all kinds of different things. So just my thoughts on that. I love notebooks, and I love having that week in review look at it to see, okay, this is all the information. It's all concise and clear and all just right there. Just not anything that feels personal. I can understand that. Definitely. Definitely. I was sharing my Silk and Sonder journals for a month or two, and then I was like, I'm not writing things that I want to write in my journal because I was going to share it on YouTube. So I decided I just can't share it on YouTube. I'm just because I don't want it. I want to use the journal for, what it's intended, but I don't want the fact that I'm going to share it on YouTube prevent me from, writing things that are good for my soul and my mental health. So I just can't share my finished journals because, girls got to keep some stuff private, right? You can't just air out everything, even though mostly I do, but sometimes I don't. So I get that. Yeah, when you eat really boring, it is really, really easy. Whenever you don't have a family and or other people living with you, it simplifies things for sure. That is so, so very nice. So we're not even done with all the things that you can write in your notebook yet. Can you believe that? Can you believe it? How many more things do you think I can think of that we can write in our notebooks? Because that's a lot of things, isn't it? That's already a lot of things that we can write in our notebooks. But there's more. There's even more things that we can write in our notebooks. So I want to hide this little comment so that I can click on this little button. Okay. Identifying triggers and emotions. Huge. If you're having, a period week, track that. That's not, that could be a trigger. That could cause emotions. Depending on what you're, experiencing, we want to, kind of write that down and see if, yes, that's coming up next. See if there's anything there so that we can help identify our triggers, emotions, things, so that we can, see what we can do about it. See if there's anything that we can change in order to, make it easier on us. Of course, Tia is right. Exercise. We definitely want to track our exercise. This is like as big as tracking your progress. It's as important as, before and after photos, taking your measurements. Did I mention taking your measurements before? Tracking your exercise. It is so cool to go back to old notebooks and see how when I first started doing yoga, like some poses were just so incredibly hard and my body didn't understand how to move in that way. It is so neat to go back and look at when I first joined Derek's Journey Steps Challenge, how incredibly hard it was for me to get 10,000 steps a day. It is crazy to go back and look about whenever I started with my weight training and where I have progressed to now. I think I have a YouTube video about the first time I did like 100 squats. And with this squat challenge, before my knee wound up and getting hurt, so I'm on quick fit home workouts. Last month, this month of May, she was doing a squats challenge. I can't remember where we started out, like 35 or 40, and then, way over 100 squats. No problem. I think it took me like a long, I can't even tell you. It took me a long time to do 100 squats the first time I did 100 squats. Bye. Thank you so much for joining. I so appreciate you. But seeing that progress over time is it's like, yes, that's what it's all about. Like these wins, these successes, these non-scale victories. When you're having a bad day, to go back and look at that stuff and to see and to be reminded of how far you've come, sometimes it can be hard to track it down. And it's so nice whenever you can just like open a book and just flip through it and really quickly see those snapshots, those glimpses of where you were. So that's, definitely notebook. Definitely track your exercise. See where you were, see where you're going, all kinds of fun stuff with that. So I still have more things that we can write in our notebooks. You guys had to know that I was going to go insane with the notebook, right? Because I love my notebooks. I love my notebooks. Problem solving. That is the next one on the list. Oh, I didn't do the thanking. Wait, I spent, a whole 10 minutes making these slides on Canva. I wanted to, use them because I'm on torque. Problem solving. So this is a way that we can brainstorm our challenges that we encounter and how to get past them. We can write down the obstacles that we're facing. We can analyze them. How can we do differently? We can, set some realistic or some SMART goals in order to, get past those obstacles. But really by having a written, account of it, of our strategies and our plans and our goals, we can make adjustments as needed to all of those things. So problem solving. It's also interesting if you do like journaling in your notebook, because journaling didn't even make it on my list for some reason. I don't even know why. But if you're doing journaling, that is a great way to figure out your thoughts. Like, do you have any limiting beliefs? You have a hard time not leaving food behind on your plate because of different things. Why do I binge eat? Why is it that every day at 2:00 I have to have a snack? By journaling, we can really do a lot of problem solving. Getting our thoughts out on paper, reviewing those thoughts and kind of thinking about them can be so beneficial to to life in general, really. It doesn't have to just be food related because it's really not. It's bigger than food. It's bigger than weight loss, but this is the ABCs of weight loss. So I'm going to relate it back to weight loss. So I was talking about SMART goals and then I kind of got sidetracked for a second there, but I wanted to talk about SMART goals. So you might be looking at your food diary, your food journal, and see, oh, wow, I didn't really realize that we were eating out 5 times a week. So you might want to, set you a specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-based goal that says, hey, instead of going out to eat 5 times, we're going to go out to eat 3 times. It's a goal. That's a really easy way to kind of pull back, whenever, for me, I find out whenever I feel like whenever I'm eating out, it's a lot harder for me to track my calories. It's a lot harder to always stick to what I feel might be the best decision for me. So, looking at that and being, oh, wow, because it really, sometimes you just don't realize the things that you're doing and the patterns that you have and the habits that you have until you see them down on paper. And you can look at them and you can just analyze and make changes. Maybe you're looking at your food diary and you're thinking, wow, I really don't eat very much like vegetables. Maybe I need some more vegetables in my diet. I need, all these vitamins and minerals and nutrients that they provide for me. So you might see that you're having like 2 vegetables per day. So you might set a goal that I want to increase it to 3 vegetables a day, 3 days a week, and start really small, so that you can make it doable, so that you can achieve that goal, feel proud of yourself, and then increase it from there. So definitely want to talk about that one. Oh, wait, I think I got ahead of myself. Oh, no. Deanna. How dare she do that? So I have one more slide. Goal setting. I was just talking about SMART goals. I got ahead of myself on the goal setting. But we can definitely use it for goal setting. So there's some interesting information that I wanted to talk about on goal setting. The research is conclusive. Dr. Gail Matthews, a psychology professor at this University of California, she did a study on goal setting with 267 participants. She found that you are 42% more likely to achieve your goals just by writing them down. Writing down our goals. Oh my God. So when I was brainstorming words that start with the letter N, I really, 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 really wanted to talk about neuroscience. But I am not as comfortable with talking about that subject as I would like to be. Not at all as comfortable talking about it. But then whenever I was looking up, statistics for writing down your goals, I was so thrilled. Oh man, did this cut off? It sure did. So the neuroscience explains why you need to write down your goal if you actually want to achieve them. Neuroscience, I get to talk about it. So excited. So this article here that's from Forbes magazine or Forbes online or something like that. Really interesting. So, and I'm sorry if my little picture there cut off. People who very vividly describe or picture their goals are anywhere from 1.2 to 1.4 times more likely to successfully accomplish their goals. That is quite interesting to me. So, very vividly describing your goals in written form is strongly associated with goal success. Just from writing down on paper. So, why does it help? Writing things down, this is all from this Forbes article, and I'm just going to read it off here. This isn't like, anyway. Writing things down happens on two levels: external storage and encoding. External storage is easy to explain. You're storing the information contained in your goal in a location, your notebook, that is very easy to access and review at any time. You can post it in your office, post it in the refrigerator, wherever you want. It doesn't take a neuroscience to know you'll remember something much better if you're staring at a visual cue. A reminder every single day. Writing it down, review your goals, vivid goals. But another thing that's happening whenever you physically write it down is encoding. So encoding is the biological process by which the things we perceive travel to our brain's hippocampus, where they're analyzed. From there, decisions are made about what gets stored in our long-term memory and in turn what gets discarded. Writing improves that encoding process. So when you write it down, it has a greater chance of being remembered. So there's also neuropsychologists have identified the generation effect, which basically says individuals demonstrate better memory for material they've generated themselves than for material that they've merely read. So when you write down your goal, you get to access the generation effect twice. First, when you generate the goal and you create a picture in your mind. And secondly, when you vividly write it down, because you're reprocessing or regenerating that image. It is amazing neuroscience. So, pen to paper, write it down, write down that goal that you want to achieve and make it as vivid as you possibly can. And it's just going to help to store that in your brain. It's going to be written down as a reminder, and it's going to help you, be a little bit more successful at achieving your goal. Create instead of copy. Yes. Oh, look at these comments. I love them. Hello, vision board. Wait, which way do I duck? Vision board. Neuroscience. I love neuroscience too. It is so fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. Just unbelievable. So that was the end of everything that I was thinking about that we could include in our notebooks. You guys know I track my moods, I track my foods, I track my habits. I have a daily affirmation that I do every day. I have my schedule. I have my reading list. I write down so much stuff in my notebook, and I go back to them. I refer back to them. I love the process of having a notebook. I adore my Silk and Sonder notebooks. They're just pretty cool and awesome. Love them so very, very much. But seriously, a regular spiral bound college notebook can go a long way. Also, a fancy, nice paper, leather bound journal can also go a long way. It has a different smell, it has a different feel. So what I'm trying to say here is that you've got to play with what works for you. You might need a bullet journal. You might be more like me, where that's way too much openness and creativity. And the Silk and Sonder journal, for me, it gives me like a nice balance, because I've got bullet pages, and then I've got, lined out pages that tell me this is what we want from you on this page. There are different ways to track your food. You might just write down egg and toast, whatever you had for lunch, whatever you had for dinner, and not write down calories, not track macros, not track portion size. And then just say, this is what I planned to eat. This is what I actually ate. And did I follow my plan? Was I keeping my promises to myself? You might want to do the I'm tracking everything, kind of vibe. There's so many different ways, but you have to experiment and figure out what works for you. Why not, whatever. But really, for having a notebook, I suggest the best thing to do is, if you don't currently have a notebook that you're writing in and you're not adding to what you're already doing, if you've watched this whole entire live stream and you're like, I'm going to get myself a notebook. I think the important thing is that you got to understand that you're creating a new habit. And sometimes new habits are hard to create. So you want to make it as easy as possible. Make sure that you can keep your notebook in a place where you see it every single day, where you can touch it, where it's comfortable to sit down and write in it. Make sure that you have utensils. You don't need all this many. You only need one pen, one pencil. You don't need a whole bunch of fancy pens in order to do that. But in order to make it a habit, put it in some place that you're going to see it. Don't hide it away in a drawer, because you want to be reminded that, oh yeah, I'm starting this journaling practice. Try and do it at the same time every day. That's going to help you to make it a habit. You don't have to do it all day long. That is helpful for some people, to do it all day long. Some people like to keep them in their purse and they're writing in it all the time. You got to find what works for you again. But to start the habit, find a place that's comfortable, that you like to go to, that you're going to go to, and just start small and then build that habit up. And guess what? You can track that in the notebook. Amazing. So I told you guys, I was so excited about the word notebook. I just couldn't wait to talk about it. You don't need 1,000 pens and 1,000 colors, but I can understand why you would want to. Mama is journaling to help her with night eating. Yeah. Don't need 1,000. You need whatever makes you feel happy. That's what you need. You just, a lot of people, some people are like, well, if I'm feeling like this, I choose this color, and if I'm doing that. I love to go on just the internet and Google for journal pages and see how, I like the completed pages, what people do. It gives me such great information and ideas and insights on, just how to, tinker around with it and make it, fun and exciting and all those things. So notebook, 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 notebook. And it can be nourishing for your body. So that was my whole big long talk on notebooks. Now I'm going to spin the wheel to give away the pens. So there weren't a lot of people that signed up for the pens, but somebody's got to win, and I will send them an email after I spin the wheel. I put everybody on, oh wait, where did I want to go? This whole thing is making me mad. Do you ever lose your mouse and you can't find it on your screen and you don't know where it went, and then 3 days later you finally figured it out and there it is? Okay, that's the kind of day I'm having today. We are going to, okay, here we go. We're going to spin the wheel. So But these are all the people and however many times that they got entered into the drawing. So we're going to click spin and you guys all get to witness. So let's all clap. I'm clicking. Oh, do you guys want to know what I was clicking on right now? I was clicking on the StreamYard view and not the actual screen that I'm sharing. So now I'll click on it and it spins. Technology. Cassandra! Yay! Okay, so we will go ahead and I will contact her and send out her lovely. So she gets a set of the pens that I use on a daily basis. I swear by these Frixion gel ink erasable pens. They are just amazing. They really, really erase, which is so cool. So yeah, congrats to her. So unless I am not going to talk about nutrition because that is not my area of expertise. Nutrition, that I'm not a nutritionist. I am not a dietitian. I don't feel like I am really an expert in order to talk about that. Nighttime, that was one of the words. So we can talk about nighttime because we have, 7 more minutes while we're here joining us. Nighttime. Put in the comments below, do you struggle with nighttime eating? Does anybody struggle with nighttime eating? I know that there are a lot of people that struggle with nighttime eating. It's also, there's I believe, I can't remember exactly which time it is, but there's it's called the witching hour. A lot of people, especially, I noticed that it's more common with people with small children. Whenever you put them to bed, this is now your relaxed time, and a lot of people kind of turn to food for their relaxed time. So nighttime can be challenging because, especially, if you're counting your calories, you might have had, a long day. I don't know. You might have had some complicated food choices throughout the day, and you find yourself out of calories and it's nighttime. And then, that's a habit that you have is nighttime eating, and you're faced with making that decision. And a lot of times you're like, oh, fuck it. I'll make up for it tomorrow. So we want to kind of, figure out what is going on with the nighttime eating. Is there a trigger? Is it just a habit? Sometimes we are just eating out of habit. It's something that we started to do. Who knows when? Continued on doing it. We're not hungry. We don't need the food, but we just want it anyway. So it really, really depends. Sometimes the problem is that we have not experimented with our meal plans so that we are not eating the right makeup of foods to sustain us after dinner until we go to bed. There's a lot of different reasons why nighttime can be difficult. So, yeah, nighttime. So there's a lot of different reasons for nighttime eating, and that's a whole different, it's a whole different episode all on its own. We'll get into it someday. Nighttime routines. That is another thing that is really, really a good thing to have. A nighttime routine sets you up for success the next day. Do you have a nighttime routine? What is your nighttime routine? Is there anything that you could add to your nighttime routine that is going to help you to be more successful tomorrow? It's just something to ponder, something to think about. Or do you even have time? Sometimes we just don't even have time. But a good nighttime routine, making sure that you get to bed on time. I've been a fond supporter of bedtimes for a very long time, but getting the proper amount of sleep aids in weight management. Lots of studies on it. It's a fact. So making sure that you have a nighttime routine that allows you to get that proper night's sleep. They say, turning off your electronics 30 minutes before you go to bed. Do you need to cool your bedroom a little bit cooler before you go to bed? Close the curtains. What different things do you need to do in order to make sure that you are getting that good night's sleep? Your dad always had dessert about an hour before bed every night. Never picked up that. That's amazing that you never picked up the habit. That's pretty cool that you didn't pick up this habit. There's a lot of people that are like that. And it's not a bad thing to have a habit of having a dessert every single night if it's serving you well. If it's serving you well. If by having a dessert every single night, does that mean, half a pie? That's probably not going to serve you really well. Because there's no judgment really. You just got to find out what works for you. But you might want to experiment. Like if you were a person that was having dessert every single night, an hour before bed, you might want to experiment with having it 2 hours before bed to see how does that impact my sleep, and put that down in your journal and do a little experiment. Be curious about it and see, is this going to change things? They're like tiny little habits and actions. By making small, tiny modifications, that they can do a world of a difference in the things that we do. But we don't know until we, get curious, write down a goal, experiment, track the progress, and we can do it all in our notebooks. So, yes, so exciting. Anyway, I want to thank you all so very much for coming to watch today or on the replay. I can't say it more, but I appreciate you so very much for tuning in. It's such a joy to have you here. I hope you learned something. If you did, if you enjoyed anything that was said, please share this out. Share with a friend, whatever. Don't forget to like and come back and leave a comment. Do you track in a notebook? What do you track in your notebook? Are you going to track in a notebook if you don't track anything in a notebook right now? Anyway, I'll leave you guys with that. I will see you in the next video. As always, it's going to be an adventure. Bye.